Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Plage, and welcome to this edition of Nonprofit Spotlight. As you know, the Nonprofit Spotlight is a production of the Volunteer Advisory Committee here at Community Television. And every program, we highlight a nonprofit doing wonderful work in the Santa Cruz County area. And this program, we're delighted to have Janis O'Driscoll. Janis is the president of the board of the Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Library. Janis, we're great to have you here again, and good to see you.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to be here.
Yeah, you were with us a while back, and when you were with the deputy director for the library at one point, I guess that was your retirement title. So now you're moved on to still help out with the library, and much appreciated all the great work that you're doing with the Friends.
Thank you very much. Yeah. It's hard to walk away from the library.
I would think so, yeah. So for folks who don't know much about you, tell a little bit about your background and how you kind of came to work with the library and then with the Friends.
Okay, well, I've been a lifelong librarian. I actually started out as a children's librarian.
I'll be darned.
And I was a children's librarian in Pennsylvania and in Texas, and then in Massachusetts. And then I got a chance to be a bookmobile librarian, and I loved that. And then when I ended up in Santa Cruz, I actually got to buy the new bookmobile. So that was very exciting for me because I know what a great service that is. And I ended up in Santa Cruz as a children's librarian, and then I worked my way up. I was youth services coordinator, and then I worked a lot in the community with programs and partnerships, and ended up as the deputy director, an interim director while they were where we were doing Measure S, and then back to the deputy director. And I somehow figured out how to retire in July of 2019. And then I joined the board because you can't really walk away from loving libraries and working with the community. And this is such a wonderful community that supports its libraries.
Well, it's great to have you with the system and continue to be such a supportive part of it. The bookmobile really brings back very fond memories for me. Is that and I've been a library patron for many years. Now, of course, you've been associated with the library during a very interesting and active period with Measure S, and then the new library they're contemplating, and renovations to the existing libraries. Tell us what's going on now with particularly with Aptos Library and Branciforte and Garfield Park, those libraries which are being renovated. I was saying earlier that Garfield Park is close to my heart because it's in my neighborhood. So I see them working and hoping that the renovations are moving forward.
Oh, they definitely are. Well, let me back up just a little bit. After Measure S passed, then we had 10 branches that either had to be rebuilt or renovated in a very limited amount of time. They all have to be done by the end of 2024. We thought, well, we can't do all this at once. So we have started with 3 branches that have been very successful. So we already have a success story with the Capitola branch, the Felton branch, and the La Selva Beach branch. Those have been renovated and are reopened and are serving the public. This year in 2021, we chose to support Aptos branch, Branciforte branch, and Garfield Park branch. And the reason the support is needed is because the voters were so generous with Measure S in voting it and approving it. But that was in 2016.
Right.
Construction costs are not the same. They're very much higher. Yeah. And so what the Friends are doing are raising the money, the gap money, we call it, between the Measure S funding and what it's actually going to cost to finish the buildings. And so this year we're raising $1 million for those 3 branches.
So tell people before we get too much farther along how they can contribute to this wonderful work.
Oh, I'd be thrilled to tell you. um, the easiest way is to contribute online. So you can go to fscpl.org. And if you go there, you will see our thermometer. So you'll see as of today how much we have earned.
Mhm.
And there will be a donate button there. And you have choices there. You can either designate your donation for one of those three specific branches, or you can say that your donation will go where it is needed most, because we're going to fund all three of them.
Right.
And as you might guess, with construction and the way things go, we don't know where we might end up running short, where the supplies, everyone is working with reduced access to construction supplies. So you never know exactly where that's going to end up. So choosing where needed most would allow us to support any or all of those three branches with your donation, but that's strictly the donor's decision to make.
Well, we certainly urge people to do that. As you know, of
Absolutely.
course, this show is evergreen, which means we'll put it into our regular rotation, but it'll play, for many weeks and months to come, so people can have an opportunity and be reminded that this kind of fundraising is ongoing. You're hoping that you'll push past the $1 million cap, and
Oh,
as
absolutely.
construction costs continue to rise.
Yeah, and it's looking really good. Once again, not only have people been generous with their votes, they've been generous with their giving, and people are already giving in wonderful amounts and what they can afford, and everything helps. And so we're continuing this campaign straightforward to the end of the year, and it's looking really good for us. I can talk about what some of the changes people
We
might.
would love to hear that. Absolutely.
But let me start with the Garfield Park branch, because that's your favorite branch.
That's my favorite.
And that branch, for people who don't know, that's the little Carnegie building that's on Woodrow Street on the west side of Santa Cruz. And I'm going to tell you right off, because everybody always asks, we are not changing the outside
Oh,
of the
beautiful.
building. So it is going to look the same. It's going to look like that Carnegie building outside when everything is finished.
So I'll be able to resume my seat on the bench in front and spend my afternoons
You
relaxing.
absolutely can. You can. The trees will be there. We're going to refresh the landscaping when all the construction is done. But you will be able to do all those things. You can sit on the steps and watch everybody go by to the beach. Inside, it's going to be wonderful. We are the fireplace that has been there since the beginning no longer works after the earthquake in 1989. Like a lot of fireplaces, it was compromised. So now we're going to have a more energy efficient. We're actually going to have a gas fireplace there that will be beautiful. So we're not losing the fireplace, but it will look different. The magic thing about that renovation is that we're taking the bookshelves away from the windows. If you've been in that building in the last few years, some people don't even realize the windows are even there because there's been bookshelves in front of them. Well,
Yes.
we had a clever architect who figured out how we could take away all those bookshelves, have all that wonderful light coming in, and still have space. The other thing people might remember is in the last few years, the children's area was just a small kind of corridor.
Was tiny, yeah.
And now it's going to be a much bigger space. It's going to be a much more open space for families to relax. There's still, of course, all the books for adults. There's all the books for teenagers. You can still check out books. You'll still be able to request anything you want. But
And they'll
it's
still
going
have
to be more open and brighter.
they'll still have the computer section in
Oh,
there.
yes.
Okay.
There will be computers and enhanced. It will be enhanced actually from what
Wonderful.
you remember when you were there before. Um, the other thing about Garfield Park is that I want to tell you, with all my fingers crossed, is that we're hoping that it could reopen in January. But we it's so dependent on all that, the availability of materials and everything. But so don't hold me to that, because it's turned up to not to be so. But that's what the goal is. The goal is January, and I certainly hope that that will be so. The other branch in Santa Cruz, the city of Santa Cruz, that's being renovated is the Branciforte branch. That's the branch on Galt Street on the east side of Santa Cruz. It's if you're going to the roller rink, you turn left by the roller rink. That's Galt Street, and Branciforte is right down there. That is a beautiful building. It was built.
It is, yeah.
It was built in the 1970s. It has fantastic wooden interiors, wonderful rafters, and all kinds of beautiful things. Don't worry, that's not going away.
Okay, because it does have an airiness to it and a light that
it does, and it's going to be even more so. Wait till I tell you. It's gonna be even airier. There's the children's room will be wider, and there's going to be an outdoor patio off the children's room where families and children can relax safely. There will be a fence around it so no one can run into the parking lot, because there's a parking lot right in the back. Nobody's in danger there, but it will be a safe, usable family space that we didn't have before. Then there's the children's room that will be wider and more spacious than you remember. As you walked into the room, into the building before, straight ahead, there was a little room that used to be an office and sometimes used to be for teens. That's going to be a bigger area for teenagers, strictly for them, and it'll be right as you walk in. To the right will be the adult area, the study area, where a lot of the books will be. Those beautiful windows are still open to the street. They will still be open.
Yeah.
Here's the cool thing.
Okay.
This is the change. When you used to check out books, the checkout desk was on the left, and it was all staff area in back of that. Now there is going to be a beautiful meeting room. This incredible meeting room for the public to use, because one of the things that happened is when we were getting ready for Measure S and talking about Measure S and then starting to talk about renovating libraries, the public asked for meeting space. They wanted a place where they could have meetings, where students of all ages could work in teams together in a quiet, good room with all of the technology that they needed. And we didn't really have that at the Branciforte branch. But now there will be one. And in fact, if you've ever driven down the driveway to go to the parking lot in the back of the Branciforte branch, it's just been wall. What's going to happen is that is where the meeting room is, and it's going to be all windows. So there's going to be light pouring in. You're going to be able to see what's going on in the meeting room. You're going to see that you can sign up, and in your neighborhood organization, or if you're students and you need a place to study with your group, that would be a place that you could go and study. It's going to be grand.
Yeah.
And then just on the other side of the front door will be a little reading nook in the window. So you actually can come by and see children sitting in the window reading while you come in. So the outside, once again, the outside won't look wildly different. Yeah. And the wood is not going away, but the inside is going to meet so many more needs than it has been able to meet before.
I'm really happy to hear that you're considering developing communal spaces. That's so important, I think, for libraries, and a concept that has gone away just a little bit. But to bring that back, to create community spaces for people, I think is such an important consideration.
It's so important, and everyone asked for it. And so we knew whatever we did, that had to be part of any of the new designs. People just, it may have something to do with the pandemic too. I don't know, but people are really anxious to be with each other.
Yes, they are.
If they can be. And so we need to have the spaces where they can do that. That is a larger renovation. I'm sure you can tell by my description.
Yes, indeed.
So they are, once again, don't hold me to this, but they're hoping for late spring, early summer as an opening 2022 for that.
Wonderful.
And everything, anybody who's ever done construction knows that.
And again, before we get to what's happening at Aptos, remind people where they can make a small donation to help this good work go along.
Absolutely. Online, you can go to fscpl.org. You will land right where the donate button is and where the thermometer is to raise money.
Wonderful. So how about Aptos? What's going on out there?
Well, Aptos is a major renovation. It is going to look so different. The outside will look different.
Really?
It won't look the same. It will be even more inviting. It certainly will be airy. One of the things about Aptos is there was no teen space to speak of at all. It was literally 2 bookshelves on the back wall. That was what it was. So there's going to be teen space. There's going to be a beautiful enhanced community room. There's going to be the children's room was kind of cramped and in a little corner, and that's going to that's going to be spread out. There's going to be much more room to maneuver, more room to explore. And then the other cool thing is that that branch is going to become home to the Aptos Sister Museum.
Oh my gosh! Really good.
So there will be exactly how that's setting out is still in negotiation, but it's far enough along that I feel confident in telling you about it. But we will be able to display some of those collections, and children and anyone in the community will be able to see those exhibits and enjoy them while they're enjoying the library. So that's something new.
And I think of all the library branches, maybe that's the one that's most in need of an exterior facelift. It's just not necessarily, it's a wonderful location, and I've been inside. It's a great library, nice feel, but it really needs to kind of be more welcoming, I think.
It does need to be more welcoming, and it will be. There was the Friends of the Aptos branch. There's a chapter of the Friends that specifically work with the Aptos branch. They started a garden project before the renovations began. That garden project is going to remain and be expanded. So the garden is not going to go away, but it's going to be expanded. There'll be more connection with the outside in all of the rooms at the new branch. And then the wonderful addition of history. That's going to be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is really great news. And do they have any projected date for when that might be coming back online?
That one you can imagine is the most involved renovation. They're hoping for December of 22. It might go into January of 23. We'll have to just see how that one goes. But that will give you an idea of what the plans might be.
Right. You were mentioning that the people of Santa Cruz have been really wonderfully generous. Measure S, of course, has a per parcel tax that people are willing to assume, and that's on a 30-year basis. So they have put the shovels to the ground for that in terms of supporting the library system, and that money, a lot of it has gone to the new libraries in Capitola and Felton. So tell us about what's going on out there, because that's very exciting as well.
Yeah, those branches are complete, and if anyone has not been to them, you must go. Felton was the first branch to be completed, and it was completed, I think, days before we went into lockdown in 2019.
Okay.
So I think they were open just a few days, and then we had to close. So, but you have to go out there because it is wide open. The ceilings are tall. There's beautiful, beautiful art there. There's an outdoor patio, wonderful meeting room there. And there is a brand new county park.
Oh my.
So what the Felton friends were able to negotiate is an agreement with the county of Santa Cruz, because the land was donated, but there was an area that could not be built on because it's a riparian zone. So then the idea was, well, let's make it a park. And that happened. And it is a park. There's sculpture in there. There's opportunities to do programs out there. You can visit that right now. So definitely go out and see what it looks like when a park and a library are connected together. So the county, and it's another good example. The county owns the Felton branch, and the county owns the park. So it's a good combination. It's a good combination of libraries and parks.
Well, I'm really happy for the people in Felton, because they had, while it was quaint, it was very, very tiny library they had there for that community, and now they're being rewarded, with something that really is reflective of how great it is to live down in the valley.
Yes. And there are people that don't live in the valley that are coming out because it's such a spectacular building. And it's such a beautiful park. It's a great place to go to the library and then have a little lunch in the park. It's a great place for families to go.
Well, I'll put that on my excursion list. I'm a bus rider, so I'll get a bus out there.
Oh yeah,
and
you can
spend some time.
do that. Absolutely. Yeah, and you will be happy, and it'll be an afternoon well spent for you. The next branch, well, no, probably La Selva was the next renovation that was completed. And that is a building that's owned by the district in La Selva. That was a renovation, and it's spacious and wide open.
Wonderful.
There is this beautiful children's room, and it has an accordion glass door that acts as a wall. So you can actually have something going on in the children's room. You can close that glass wall. You can see through, you can see that everybody is fine, but you still are able to work in whatever or quiet you need to work in the other part of the library. And if you've ever been there, you know how small it is, and you can appreciate how amazing that is.
Yeah.
They had to open virtually in 2019 or 2020 because of the lockdown, but they're having their grand in-person opening on November 13th. So
Wonderful.
if you want to go see, that's a good time to go see.
Well, our time here is flying by, Janis. I wanted to make sure we mentioned that the people of Capitola have waited so long, for a new library to come. Now they have it. So tell us in a couple of minutes, what a wonderful facility they have out there.
They replaced what was supposed to be a temporary cobbling of 3 classrooms, and it was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 17 years. Now they have a beautiful big building on the corner of Clare Street and I've forgotten street, the cross street, across from the Ripken mansion.
Of course, yeah.
And it has more than one meeting space. It has a deck where families can go out right off the children's room and you can enjoy the park. It has these gorgeous views across the street of where the Ripken Mansion is, and the city of Capitola is not thinking of putting a garden there.
Oh, good.
You'll have views of that. It is just spectacular. It is open and wonderful. I don't know, it must be 3 to 5 times the size of the one that used to, the poor little temporary building that was there before.
Well, I have yet to visit myself, but I'm really delighted to hear that the people of Capitola have been rewarded for their patience, for waiting so long.
And they worked hard. They raised a lot of money. They worked hard to make that happen. And I think they are proud, and they should be proud.
Yeah. So we shouldn't end the program without mentioning the opportunity for people to volunteer with the Friends. I'm sure you have some opportunities for people to do that if they like.
Yes, there's a lot of opportunities with a campaign now, but there's also opportunities. The Capitola, we were talking about the Capitola branch. The Friends of the Capitola Library have a bookstore at Capitola Mall.
I was
And
there.
so that's something to check out, chances to do things. And once again, if you also consult that website that I gave you, fsscpl.org, you can leave a message and say, I want to volunteer. What can I be doing, or what do you have open right now?
Mm-hmm. So there's some opportunities for folks to be able to volunteer at the Capitola, of course, in Felton and in the various places, I guess, downtown as well. Another, beautiful facility that at some point will be replaced by another beautiful facility here for us. But nevertheless, an opportunity to go in and participate in what is a terrific library system.
It is a terrific library system, a lot because there's a terrific supportive community. We are very fortunate.
Well, and I've always noticed, being a library patron for a long period of time, that the people in there are so knowledgeable, so friendly, so willing to kind of welcome you into the space and help you use it. And a lot of that is the people who have led it in the past, yourself included, from your time as deputy director of the library system, and now you're still contributing as the president of the board of directors for the Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Library. Janis, it has been wonderful to see you again. We've barely had time to cover all these exciting things that are happening. We might have to have you back again so we can continue the conversation. But it is wonderful to see you. All I can say is, on behalf of the people in Santa Cruz and myself, thank you for all the great work you and your volunteers are doing, and donate some money. Help out with this gap funding so we can get these things done.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks again, and really, again, it's wonderful to see you. I've been Steve Plates. This has been another episode of a Nonprofit Spotlight, and we will see you next time. Bye now.